Hey, speed crawl. Yesterday we were talking about how if you go to the races or you go to, street racing, way back in my past, burn them up at the high school, get those tires rolling on those muscle cars and just get those wheels spinning in the back and burning up the rubber and, just creating this powder of smoke and tire all over the place. But I think it talks to what we were talking about yesterday, but I wanted to go a little further with it because it talks about crawling. We don't go very fast. We go very fast in place, but we don't go very fast forward. And why is that? In life, we're doing the same thing. Do you recognize that when you have a major decision, it seems like time just stops or it just slows down so much? Yet the clock is still going, but your environment, your idea, your awareness of everything else going around you just slows on down and you just kind of focus in. So we end up crawling. We crawl to the finish line of that moment. So it could be just a couple minutes. It could be a couple minutes that's happening, and then suddenly, boom, you're back into the real world. You're back into reality. You're back into having awareness of everything else going on around you. What is it with you? What is it with your day? How do you find time, focus time? What happens when you're focusing? Good morning, Eric. Welcome. Great words this morning. Eric had catch his video on Facebook Live. It was a little while ago, almost an hour ago, but there's some great thoughts on possibility versus probability thinking. And he's got his ticket for the $700 million Powerball. And I thought, yes, you can time travel. Absolutely. It's amazing what our mind can do. We think that it needs a device, that we need to be like H.G. Wells, and that we have to get inside of this device and we'll jump across. Or if you're watching Back to the Future, all you needed was a specially equipped DeLorean. But the winning ticket is Eric's. Yes, he's going to get the whole 700 million. And I said, wow, 700 million. I was thinking limited because I was thinking I had a $100 million mindset. And he's got a $700 million mindset. So even I and when you think about it, $100 million, what could you do with $100 million? I posed this question a couple episodes ago. If you were knowing that you only had if you know you had $100 million in the bank, what would you do or become? What would you be or what would you do? If you only had 6 months to live, what would you do or what would you be? Hey, Lisa, welcome. We're just talking about Eric's winning ticket. Yes. I don't know if he's going to share it with you, although he's got something planned for you. So what is it that we're going to focus on in that crawl moment, in that moment of awareness where we have those wheels rolling, our mind really focused and really going, why am I here? What's going on? What's my purpose, perhaps, is the question. What are the things that we need to focus in on? Maybe it's a life-changing question or that question that has been bothering you and you finally sat down and started thinking about it. What is the thing? I see the little thumbs going across. Thanks for your thumbs. Give me a like, give me a comment. I appreciate it. But I ask you, what is the thing that you're focusing in on today? What would be the element that you would like to focus in on? And put that down in the comments. What's your big thought thinking point? Do you have a point on your calendar that says, for the next hour, I'm going to be reflecting on a big thought or on my goal, on my book, on my writing, my my journal for today. I'm going to do something that provides me value, provides me some thought about my future, my if we're talking about this speed lift, about this getting through the, rev up the wheels, but you got to have traction to move forward, and you have to go through the finish line. What's that finish line look like? For me, when I was thinking about back in those high school days, to see, the car spinning up, and we all draw our attention while we're in class. This is happening outside, and we're just laughing because somebody's burning up their tires. Where is it going? How soon would it stop? How much spin would they get? And how much effort would they put into just putting the smoke? And what was the goal? I also remember looking out of those windows, and we had a younger teacher teaching math in our school, and she had a Volkswagen. So the big brawny seniors decided that it would be fun to go and take her car, lift it up, and put it between the parking blocks, between the two sides of the parking area. So there were two sets of parking blocks, and they decided that there was enough room to put her car, lift it off from its parking place, and move it over in between the parking blocks so that she couldn't go anywhere. They had some trouble with the principal after that, obviously. But, it was good for a joke, good for a laugh for the day. So Lisa says that she's going to finish her presentation that she's going to give on August 30th. It's go to http:// like normal. But you can just type in Great Stories AUG 2017.eventbrite.com. And that's August 30th, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's a free event. The only cost that you have is your time, because your time is valuable. But you can learn from the mountain, from someone who's been to the mountain. You can learn from somebody who's been focused in on how to best tell your stories. You can take some things away. I think you have something in your legacy that you want to share. And then Lisa will be focusing in on lessons that she learned from her amazing trip from Tybee Island to to Louisiana. I forgot where he ended up, Lisa. But 100-day trip. So she's looking at that. So it's 3, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, 3 speakers. No, we're going to do that in 6 minutes and 40 seconds. There'll be a little intro and a little bit of a shift from one speaker to another, but it's all going to be done in 30 minutes. So it's well worth the time, well worth the effort to get something to walk away. Thanks, Lisa, for sticking up the link in the show notes. So today, talk about this thought that you are Shreveport. Thank you. She went from Tybee Island to Shreveport, Louisiana with her daughter. You can tune in for more of the story or check out her blogs, her videos. She talks quite a bit about those lessons that she learned about where it was. And it was 5 years ago. So she was still, I think you're still walking at this point 5 years ago, weren't you, Lisa? So what is it that you focus on? What are the things that you're going to focus in today? And maybe just one thing, but you're going to notice speed slows down the environment, that's rushing by. We had a joke here of this, we're running through the road, it's running through the woods, smash into a tree, right? If we don't go and look ahead, we're going to smash into a tree. We're going to try to zip fast, but go back to the crawl point of getting that momentum going, of focusing, of figuring out what you need to know more of today, what you didn't know that you should know, but you didn't know because you didn't think to ask. But now you're asking, so now you want to know. If that's complicated, just wait, there's more. What are the things that you want to do? In this crawl moment, in this point where the wheels are spinning, but you're not making traction forward, you're not moving forward, what is going on? What do you need? Well, for the tire, it needs to have that momentum going. It also needs to have somebody, pressing on the accelerator. It needs somebody, you need the brake. You need maybe some other guys to help, eke out more smoke. You may need people alongside you that are likely invested in you to help you think and go further, to ask the questions that you need. Eric asked, does speed slow down, or do we step into our alignment with the idea or project? And that's a great question. So be still. Absolutely. So time doesn't move, doesn't slow down at all, even though our perception of time does. How many times have you found yourself writing and you suddenly realize, wow, that was a half an hour. That was an hour. Where did 2 hours go? Because you're so focused on the activity. You're focused on really getting this alignment, this idea, this project, and you're really focused on it, and you're not caring about time. You're not caring about, what's going on around you. And it's not caring about, I need to take a shower, or I need to get out of here, or I've got a call, I got a client coming up. You're just focusing on this moment. You may have your favorite beverage, and focus in on that, but that might help stir up. Sometimes it really helps to just have a beverage that you can sip slowly and let your focus, your calmness start to come in. This thing thinks, our subconscious thinks a million bits a second, a million transactions, processes a second, a minute, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It moves much faster than our consciousness. So we need to be able to get them talking, and we need to be able to get them in alignment with what this thing may be saying, our heart may be saying. And, there's something that we want to reach. For you, it's something different than it's going to be for me. There's a purpose, perhaps, or there's a direction you want to take in your life, and you need to be still. You need to be able to shut everything else out and focus on the voice. There's an inner voice within you that is speaking out to you. You need to hear it. Now, some may call it God, some may just call it in, your brain, but there's something within you that's focused in on it. I'm not, my thought is an inspired thought. There's an inspired thought that you wouldn't have thought on your own, and that has to come from above, from God above. What is it for you? What are you going to hear in that moment, in that quietness, about path forward, about getting the pieces in place to move forward? Many stories I've read, and I focus in a lot on John Maxwell books because he's been teaching this stuff for 40 years. There's lessons that he's learned, that he's heard, stories he's heard of transformation. So those are good stories to think about myself, the lessons learned from that. And there are people mentioned in those stories, and I know this personally, and people I've interacted with, and probably people that you've interacted with, that they heard something. They had a sudden change. They realized they weren't going to get forward. They weren't going to go any further than they are unless they made a change. Every day people are making changes, hoping that that change going forward is where they want to go. But sometimes they're just leaping out, they've got the accelerator down all the way to the floor and they're moving forward, but they haven't taken time to crawl. Even as babies, we have to, get out of one position and flip over and, start crawling. We can't walk right out of the chute, right? We have to turn over. We have to determine, if I do this, I can move. It's with our thoughts are the same way. We may have some great thoughts, but we don't have an idea. We don't have a vision until we frame it up And until we then put a plan to go with it, and until we act on that plan, until we have that complete picture. And one of the things that we don't do often is get that figured out in our mind and then share it with people that will help us move forward. But it takes listening to the inner voice. It takes crawling first to be able to go towards the goal, to get to the legacy point, to get to something of value, something of meaning, something that is all purposeful. So as you're drinking your coffee this morning, maybe, or as you're heading, off onto your activities, and there might be that 5 minutes only, spend the moments to think about what is that wonderful thing that you're going to embark upon. What thing did you perhaps just enjoy that you want to take a lesson away from, or lock it into your memory and say, I will remember this. I enjoyed this. I need to carry this with me forward and think about it. So today we talked about crawl. Yesterday we talked about lift, but there's more on this series about speed leadership in our time of change, of increasing momentum in our society, of discontent, of change needs to happen within our lives, and the rest will all happen on its own. The rest will take place. The rest will be squelched where things don't need to be. Worry about, focus in on, be concerned about your path, your focus, your plan, where you want to go. Once you've done crawling, once you've got that momentum going on crawling, what's your next step? What's that next step look like? And what happens if you keep thinking about that future point that you want to get to and keep living it today, keep doing things today to mirror what that image looks like. Be well. Be tomorrow. Continue on with speed. I am Joe Dutkiewicz, and I am a leadership thought partner. I am your partner to think and help you evolve to your next level, to get to the apex and beyond, to think further and faster, and to really bring speed into your life. Take care. We'll see you soon. Be well.